Welcome to the Workplace Minute, powered by H3HR Advisors and sponsored by WorkHuman. Thanks for joining me for your quick briefing on what's important in the world of work. My name is Steve Boese. Today in the show, we're digging into a phenomenon quietly unfolding across American workplaces: the evolving position of Gen Z men in the labor force, and how in surprising ways their workplace trajectories are diverging from those of Gen Z women. Let's break it down. Recent analysis from the Center for American Progress reveals that as of July 2025, Gen Z men are seeing declining labor force participation, though their unemployment rate remains lower than that of similarly aged men in previous generations, like millennials, Gen X, and baby boomers. So while Gen Z men are finding jobs more readily than prior generations at a similar life stage, fewer of them are actually entering the labor market in the first place. Yet when we compare participation rates, Gen Z men are still trailing older cohorts, particularly baby boomers and Gen X, as they progress through their 20s. Meanwhile, Gen Z women are not only keeping pace, they're surpassing previous generations. Their labor force participation climbs past women of earlier eras and even edges ahead of men at the same age, and they're dominating sectors like healthcare, education, and hospitality, industries that remain resilient even as tech and other male-dominated fields slow down and see many of their entry-level jobs under threat from AI and automation. And this divergence isn't just a matter of choice. It reflects economic shifts, educational patterns, and changing demand in the job market. So why are Gen Z men lagging? 3 key drivers stand out. First, shifting sector dynamics. Gen Z men have traditionally gravitated toward fields like tech, business, government, engineering, sectors now affected by automation, AI, and hiring slowdowns. These industries are increasingly cooling, leaving fewer entry-level openings. Next, growth in female-dominated sectors. In contrast, roles in healthcare, nursing, education, and hospitality continue to expand and are often dominated by women. For instance, nearly 90% of nursing roles are held by women as of recent data, and Gen Z women are thriving in these growing and stable job markets. And 3, economic and social pressures. There's emerging concern about Gen Z men falling into the NEET category, that's not in education, employment, or training, and feeling economically adrift. Recent analysis points to rising NEET rates among young men compared to women, signaling a kind of invisible crisis. Oh, and let's not ignore shifts in education. This is perhaps more important than all. Women ages 25 to 34 now hold bachelor's degrees at much higher rates, about 47%, compared to men, only 37%. This is a significant disparity in educational attainment that has only increased in favor of women in the past decade. So what's really at play here? Women are gaining ground through concentration in growing resilient sectors and accelerating educational achievement, and Gen Z men are encountering fewer opportunities in shrinking fields, while educational and social shifts leave many uncertain and disengaged. This moment presents a unique challenge and an opportunity for workplaces striving to build equitable, thriving teams. So what can HR leaders and employers do to better engage, attract, and retain Gen Z men while still promoting equity across genders? First, expand recruitment into non-traditional sectors. By breaking down stereotypes and highlighting careers in healthcare, education, care provision, even if some of these seem traditionally less attractive to males, they can encourage male candidates and showcase any role models that they have that are breaking the mold. Next, they can promote more vocational pathways and apprenticeships. Given automation and AI pressure, many Gen Z workers are gravitating towards trade or vocational roles. You can support these ambitions with structured training programs in the technology, the skilled trades, or hybrid specialty roles that ensure that the educational requirements for these roles really reflect the skills and experience needed for the job and are not put in place to create an artificial barrier for entry. Next, create flexible and inclusive entry opportunities. We have to recognize that many Gen Z men might delay full workforce entry. They might need part-time or hybrid or transition roles that better bridge their education time and their work. Next, career coaching and mentorship are important. Help them by developing mentoring networks where experienced professionals can guide Gen Z men in navigating entry points, reskilling, and the evolving expectations at work. Next, foster mental health awareness and support. Remember that the rise in disconnection and the uncertainty, and for some the lack of motivation, is a real thing. You can work to create safer spaces, normalize career counseling, and highlight resources for mental well-being. It is time to put traditional ideas of men's work and women's work in the past and encourage everyone to explore all manners of opportunities and take advantage of all support systems in the workplace. To wrap it up, Gen Z men today have lower labor force participation compared to older generations, even while their employment remains relatively modest compared to their predecessors. But Gen Z women are surging forward, armed with degrees, jobs in growing sectors, and better resilience. The gap in labor force trajectories is real, and HR leaders just can't observe it. They should respond. By widening recruitment channels, supporting vocational paths, offering mentorship, promoting mental wellness, organizations can help Gen Z men, and women for that matter, find their place in the evolving workforce. That's it for today. Thanks so much for listening, and a big thank you to WorkHuman for supporting the Workplace Minute. If this episode made you think about how your organization is approaching the Gen Z workforce, please share it with a colleague. I'm Steve Boese, and this has been the Workplace Minute from H3 HR Advisors.